Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Movie Fight Club, where normally we duke it out over whether a film is good or not. I'm Matthew, and this week I'm talking about how I've been right 4 times in a row. Go Team Matthew.
I'm Mandy, and I take full offense to that remark. You've been right once.
And that was reading this intro.
No, I mean, I think we can agree that I failed miserably on Jaws, so you were right there. But yeah, no, the other 3, absolutely Team Mandy.
Okay. But we're not doing teams this time. So this is where we're going to be cards on the table. We will discuss our actual feelings, and we'll discuss what people have said, what people have voted, because we've always promised to do polls at the end of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have done those polls. We have results from those polls.
We do.
So.
Oh, you want me to talk?
Yeah, because otherwise it's just Matthew talks about the tweets.
I'm fine, Matthew. That's what this episode is. Matthew talks about tweets. So our first episode is our namesake, Fight Club, which I think might actually end up go down as being one of our most controversial episodes. Twitter, of course, voted. We had a Twitter poll and a Discord poll, and the winners of both were different. I was a little bit surprised. Twitter says this film is trash, but Discord says it's the film of a generation.
Yeah, you're going for absolute results, aren't you? Not number of votes.
We're not talking about number of votes. Just who won.
Okay.
Well, until we get to The Wizard of Oz, because that one was really close.
Right.
But...
Yeah, and it's funny how even today Fight Club has been discussed on Twitter with a guy tweeting about people who like Fight Club is a red flag, which...
Right, yeah, Fight Club was trending today.
Yeah, it was taken way out of context for him because it's not saying, if you like Fight Club, it's a red flag. It's if you love Fight Club and say it's one of the greatest movies or one of your favourite movies, then it is a red flag.
Well, I am the queen of your red flags because, spoiler alert, I actually do think Fight Club is the film of a generation. I was 100% arguing my opinion. I'll own it. You know what? I will own it. But listener Anna hasn't seen this movie, but she still listened to our episode and decided that she agreed with me, and now she wants to listen to it. She said, or watch it. She said, I avoided it this whole time because of the cultural portrayal of it as a film that celebrated toxic masculinity. But after listening to me talk about it, she wants to watch it now.
And she will find out that it is. But to finish the conversation about that tweet today and the red flags thing, the other thing that was really funny is everyone who took saying it's a red flag as, oh, you're judging people on that and you're just going to miss out on all these people you could talk to. Like, a red flag does not stop you talking to someone.
Right. It just gives you information going into the conversation.
When there's a series of red flags, you should pay attention to them. When you talk about spotting the red flags on the way of spotting people. But...
I mean, if you're Harley Quinn, you murder them.
Yeah, because she saw multiple red flags. Yes. Not a red flag. It was just really interesting how the point that everyone took was, if you like Fight Club, this person must hate you. Like, no. And it's fine to disagree about movies and have different things, but it does start coming up when you find these people. And some of them on Twitter, when they were defending Fight Club, and you look at them and they're like, they don't use their own faces or names as any of their identification. And when you read their stuff, you go, oh yeah, you're not someone I'd want to talk to.
Right.
It was quite a good way of weeding some people out here.
All right. But you do have to still be discerning.
Yeah. You don't take one red flag as the reason to walk away from something, but it's a something in the negative column. Anyway.
But I also think that you have to take into account the reason why somebody likes Fight Club.
Well, yeah, exactly. The thing here particularly was people who talk about, oh, Tyler Durden's amazing and the twist is awesome, and yeah, we should blow up credit card companies. Like,
right.
I'm not sure you've quite... But yes, I hated Fight Club. I hated Fight Club the first time I saw it in the early 2000s. I hated it when I saw it again at the film festival. I hated it this time. It's awful. Not awful in that it's bad. It's a very well-made movie that does some very effective things with some very good performances. But the content of that movie, I just cannot stand it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I think, so this is one of my husband's favorite movies.
It's a red flag.
And I know, red flag, right? So you and I have talked about this, and he actually listened to this episode. He's not a huge audio person. Like, he's much more visual, and so he doesn't listen to a ton of podcasts, but he was really excited to hear our conversation on this, and so he listened to it. And then he spent about 4 hours one Saturday writing a manifesto. An essay, kind of breaking down all of your points about why it's not a great movie.
Okay, second red flag, but fine.
And I sent it to you, and he's very, very passionate about it. And of course, it's a long Google Doc, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not going to read any of it. But that's just to say, people have very deep feelings about this movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's it. Deep feelings. Yeah. And it can be a red flag. It is not a red flag for my husband. It does not change the way I feel about my husband. I also love this movie, so maybe being friends with us is a red flag for you guys. I don't know. I stand very much by the point that a non-American audience is going to have a tougher time with this movie.
Okay.
I don't know why you're giving me that look right now, Matthew.
I'm not sure I could ever pull off that argument. Americans won't get this. I can get the movie and its philosophy. Mm-hmm. But I will say again, the way it does it, and the way it goes about it, and the stuff it puts to the side of it. What was the thing that I watched the other day that I told you reminded me of Fight Club? But doing it in a bit. Mr. Robot. Now.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that one
to
yet.
be fair, we're only a few episodes into the series, but it has made me think of it's doing some of this same ideological idea of the class structures, take down the 1%, the elites, the control of capitalism and so on. But it's doing it in a much savvier way. A way that actually does question, should we be doing this? What is the effect of doing this on different people and different aspects? So,
sure. That is just not the kind of TV show I want to watch right now. I'm going to continue with my Ted Lasso watch
absolutely.
And maybe rewatch it as soon as it's over.
That's about football.
Stay in my joy.
I'm not sure an American would get the soccer of.
I'm pretty sure that you tweeted just yesterday that Ted Lasso, while it may be about a football team, it's not about football.
Yeah, because I want you all to watch it. So I'm trying everything I can to sell it.
Well, I am sold. I'm watching it. It is delightful. It brings me joy. And so I want to stay in that joy. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to watch something that starts talking about class struggles and like the American dream and ideals of philosophy. Like, just let me live in my joy right now.
Well, we can talk about Happy Place then when we go to Oz.
Okay.
Because our next film was The Wizard of Oz.
It was The Wizard of Oz.
Which I had to like and you had to not like. And this was the big conversation from it, I think, because this was the one where we didn't reveal how we thought at the end.
We didn't.
Because we wanted to see, what people thought of the different ways we could do this. There was a lot of chat about whether we actually liked it or not.
There was. People weren't sure. No. At all. So I think that we did. I'm honestly not even sure how you felt.
We didn't talk about it, did we?
I don't think we did, no. So you argued that it's a classic movie, it's wonderful, and I argued that Dorothy Gale is a psychopath.
Yeah, basically.
So, I am curious how you actually feel about this one.
Because I think you like it. I think you recognise it as the quality of what it is and love it very much.
So I have to tell you, the day this episode dropped, my mother-in-law sent me a text and asked me, Do you really believe all of the things that you said about The Wizard of Oz? So I had to respond to her, no, I actually do like The Wizard of Oz. Because I do. I loved these books as a kid. I love the songs, the music. It's catchy. It's beautiful. I will say, though, that my argument was really convincing, and there were times where I believed myself.
Sure.
I did. I mean, yeah, I do kind of think Dorothy is a little bit of a psychopath. But that doesn't mean I don't like the movie.
It is also hard, and this was the thing I was thinking afterwards, was obviously the time in which it was made.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know any good way of saying it, but people were different. She was not expected to be anything, have her own agency and do things. Right. And so that's represented on screen. She is a girl on a farm, and it gets in the way of everyone. Although she goes on this big adventure, she still doesn't necessarily have any of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for me, that's one of the downfalls of it, is that everything happens to Dorothy, not because of Dorothy. Yeah. Mm.
So you still didn't answer the question.
No, not at all. Generosity on Twitter said that she's pretty sure Mandy is a fan. I would guess Matthew likes it as well. But there was some chat back and forth who was it? Maggie Grant, who said Mandy really likes Wizard of Oz. Matthew appreciates the influence on cinema, but isn't a fan. I mean, I love this film. This is a delightful film. This is a delightful film, not just because it is a great family film and it does really cool stuff and really fun adventure stuff. Mm-hmm. But even just watching it now, and I'm constantly, I'm sure my wife loved this, but constantly rewinding and being like, how did they do that? How have they done that? And you can see the strings and the mirrors and how they put it all together. Right. You can sort of see it again because we're savvier as an audience. Mm-hmm. But it just. They're actually doing someone in a sepia-toned dress to make it look like Dorothy's in black and white and then stepping through in colour. They've painted the inside of the barn sepia-tone to make it look like it's still in black and white. It's really clever. Mm-hmm. And I dig a practical effect. So just watching it was delightful. And then you do come to everything around it for its, what it means to the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, you made a great point that, this movie had lasting power and it wouldn't still be the classic that it is today if it wasn't a classic, right? If it didn't have something worth celebrating.
Yeah. And that might be the problem we come to when we cover any classics is, there are other films in this year that we don't still watch because they were awful. Mm-hmm. And there are films that we do still watch because they're really good. So, the cream has risen to the top, as it were. In the same way, there are films from this year and last year and recent years that will not be watched again, and films that will last.
Yeah. I do want to say, though, that my favorite tweet that has come in response to one of our episodes came in response to this one.
Okay.
Your marvelous co-host, Laura, at Laura Geeks Out, she said, still #Team Matthew on this one, but Mandy has convinced me it's a psychological thriller and Dorothy should, in fact, be played by Christian Bale. That just made me giggle.
See, that's presumably pitching at American Psycho Christian Bale. Because at the moment, I just keep thinking of him in Little Women. Where he's got
I haven't seen
young
that one.
Floppy hair. Have you ever seen Newsies?
I have seen
about
Newsies.
The same sort of time, Christian Bale trying to sing.
Okay.
Bless him. Yeah, it's a great film. I think it is one of the best things that has come out of the Oz phenomenon. There have been various others, but this is the one that I think still stands up and is worth showing to any generation who comes along.
Yeah, and it is absolutely the one that has generated the most conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, not controversy, just this is a great movie, and then it rabbit holed down to other things. We went into the Wicked conversation and theater shows that we have because of movies like this, and it just, it's great.
See, I read the book of Wicked and it just wasn't very good. It did not grab me.
No, I didn't like the book Wicked. I don't even think I finished the book Wicked, but the show.
And then I went and saw the show,
phenomenal.
and I don't really like the show either.
Oh, I love the show. It's my favorite. Rent is my favorite, but Wicked is my second favorite.
Wicked is so American. There's just something grating about it. The toss thing. I don't. There was something about it that's just like, oh.
You also don't really like Kristen Chenoweth either, do you?
No, that doesn't have. Although Popular is exceptionally good. Popular is great. I really enjoy Popular. I mean,
it's the soundtrack of Wicked that I prefer. Like, I can just listen to it. I don't have to see the show. I'll just listen to the soundtrack. Okay.
So. Nice. We did have the string quartet version of Defying Gravity in the background during the wedding. So.
Yeah. Then we moved on to episode 3 and Hal's Moving Castle, which we have a poll winner. Everybody agreed, like 100% agreed. It's a fantastic and beautiful movie.
Yeah. I think, as I said on Twitter or Facebook somewhere, the people voting saying it's a classic have not watched this film recently. Because I was in that camp as well before watching it. And to be fair, I did watch it with a negative slant in my head. You know, how can I take this film apart? But actually, when you do dig in it, you're like, oh, wow, it's just good characters and not very good plot. Like,
Yeah, I struggled with this one because I had to argue that it's a great movie, and I don't think it is a great movie. It's confusing. It is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. As all the Ghibli films are.
It is beautiful. Yeah. But it is confusing and convoluted, and it doesn't have a great plot. And I found it all very weird.
And because of all of those things together, like Spirited Away is really weird. But Spirited Away has the characters and has the plot and is intriguing and is beautiful and is weird, but you can accept it in this. You know,
weird is okay if it's got all of these other things to hold it up. Exactly. And Hal's Moving Castle was just weird. It was pretty, but weird. And I need more than that.
Yeah. So I'll be interested if we do get to watch any more of the Ghibli films, because, I mean, some of them are both before, and as time goes on, they get a little bit less fantastical in places. Things like The Wind Rises and From Up on Poppy Hill that are not true stories, but they're set in our world. They don't have fantasy elements to them.
Okay.
But they are exceptionally good as well. So
yeah.
I would say don't let that put you off if you do get the chance to watch them, because they are all on Netflix now. Okay. They are, again, you know, if you're looking for something nice, they're a good time.
Well, I mean, I did enjoy Spirited Away way back when we watched that. So
yeah, we watched Kiki's Delivery Service earlier in the year, which is probably my favourite of all their films. Again, it's an earlier one. It's a little bit of a lighter story, but it is just pretty delightful.
Yeah.
About a young witch going off to become a witch with her cat.
Of course.
And most recently, 2 weeks ago, we had Jaws.
We had Jaws, and I think everybody knows how I feel about that one if they've listened.
Which is a really hard film to have to take apart, as we found.
It really is. It's a great movie. Even if, you know, it's one of those movies that I never watched. Like, and we talked about this way back on PCD. I never watched it because it was old. And I don't like old movies, right? Which we've learned is not actually true. That was a perception that I had. But it holds up. It just absolutely holds up. And I'm pretty sure that we inspired some folks to go back and rewatch Jaws. As a result of our episode. So I know there was some conversation between the Nature Finds a Way ladies.
Yep.
About wanting to rewatch it.
I think it took the least amount of arm twisting to make them rewatch Jaws.
And without a doubt, voted top of the food chain as a movie in our polls.
Because it's really good.
It is really good.
It's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else to say about that one other than it is there. I've got to work on figuring out how to better manage my arguments in situations like that.
Okay.
I think. Because it was hard and I couldn't keep it up.
So like for Wizard of Oz, there is a risk for us that it's going to be difficult to argue against a classic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difficulty there. But at the same time, like Wizard of Oz does have its faults and its flaws and things you can critique it for. But Jaws is its own category, because although it sits in that sort of classic category, because it is a bit of an older film, it is one of the all-time classics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to critique, and it makes me wonder if we should, is there a way if we either take some of these out or talk about ways that we should be approaching them or thinking about them. And
well, talking about the two different movies, and both of them are movies where I had to argue the movie wasn't good, right? I was able to do it with The Wizard of Oz because I had a lot of fun with it.
okay,
Like, I just really enjoyed the idea of talking about Dorothy Gale being a psychopath. And there was enough stuff in the movie that I could spin to support that argument. And with Jaws, there wasn't enough for me to support. Like, I just kept falling back on, it's boring. It's a shark movie without a shark. But in reality, the fact that it's a shark movie without a shark is one of the reasons why it's so damn good.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just, the material for me just wasn't there to be able to riff on. Like, you did a great job with your, like, 10-second, like, you gave me, like, the blah, 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 blah. But, like, you couldn't expand on it.
No, even that would have been hard, like...
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to depend on the movie, because some movies do give you flaws or parody, or it pokes fun at itself, or something that will allow you to build on it. And some movies just don't, because some movies are that good.
Yeah, because we've got a few on our list. Things like, I mean, what if Jurassic Park came up? What if we've got the Lord of the Rings films on the list?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's really long. Oh, it's got singing. Oh, it's, beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I just have to work on my acting skills. That's where we are, right? Like, I'm not trying to be a voice actor. I should be a better actor than I am. So.
Yeah, and I think some of it will almost be the learning as well. Because it's really hard not to come in with, here's my big argument. And then, when you've got nowhere else to go...
You've got nothing left.
to come up with something else, is to sort of build into it. Like, I think I've almost been... mean's the wrong word, but possibly mean. Because I've tended to let you go first a few times. We start the conversation, then you start getting into your arguments and so on. Which then means I can come back with my arguments. I can use them as a refutation for you.
You were definitely a better debater than I am.
Okay.
For sure. But I still think it's fun. I enjoy the rapport of going back and forth and the discourse of disagreeing. With the exception of, I mean, we've only had 4 episodes, so it's kind of hard to talk about patterns, right? I think The Wizard of Oz has been my favorite episode because I just had so much fun with that argument.
Right, okay.
Even though it wasn't my true feelings. But with the other movies, like Fight Club, I really enjoyed Fight Club because I got to passionately defend my actual opinion.
I think Fight Club we genuinely argued over.
We did, absolutely.
But yeah, Wizard of Oz was just... Let's come up with stuff and be fun. Yeah, exactly.
It was fun, yeah. Howl's Moving Castle, we genuinely had conversation on that one. But I think at the end of the day, we were both on the same page. And so we were trying to keep that conflict going, even though it's like, yeah, you're kind of right there.
and I think... we can take this out if we decide to, but knowing that we record these out of order and knowing some of what's coming, I think we've learned from that already.
Mm-hmm.
and we're going in with let's be a bit more fun on it
Mm-hmm.
than
Yes.
because we're not. I don't think we're going to win the argument over each other. We're not going to get to the end and be like, yeah, you're right, it is really good.
Right.
It's really good, and you've convinced me it's really good. We were never going to get to the end of Fight Club, and suddenly you convinced me, and I don't think I was ever going to convince you.
Right.
So,
Right. I really wanted to convince you that Dorothy Gale is a psychopath, though. I was proud of that one.
okay,
Honestly, I was proud of that one.
Right.
So, but we've got some movies coming up that I'm really interested. Our conversations have been really good. Interview with a Vampire and Unforgiven, both that are upcoming.
and part of that is just the selection of films that comes up. I think there will be films that lend to it because they're sort of more like Fight Club films in that kind of when they're getting let's say a 30 to an 80% score.
Mm-hmm.
Are much easier to do because there is some give for like saying they're perfect or not.
Right.
Whereas a film like Jaws that scores so highly in any review would be very hard to do. Which makes me excited for when it might come up, and I might have to sit here and be like, yeah, Lord of the Rings, let me tell you everything wrong with Lord of the Rings. Let me tell you.
Yeah, there's going to be some that I think it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm just
hard
scrolling
for
through, seeing if
either of
anything
us.
does stand out as being like that, because Lord of the Rings is a really easy one to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not. This is the great thing about films. There is something on each of these that we could dig into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like E.T. E.T.'s easy enough. Forrest Gump. Yeah, we could take them apart. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
We've got a lot on the list. But the good thing is I don't think there was anything that would be quite like Jaws necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not sure there is. I think it'll certainly be easier. Even if we have to argue against our own feelings, there will be material there for us to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we can find it.
Yeah. Because I haven't found that side of it difficult, having to argue negatively for something that I actually like, because...
Well, you didn't have to do that for Jaws.
I didn't have to do that for Jaws. But even, like, what have I argued against? So Howl's Moving Castle is one, which I do like as a film, but even that, I think we are honest enough about films that we can critique a film that we particularly like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've had, so Fight Club, we argued our actual opinions.
Mm-hmm.
The Wizard of Oz, you got to argue your actual opinion, and I had to argue against.
Mm-hmm.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Bit of both.
A bit of both. Yeah, so we're kind of about even here.
And Jaws, you just had to go against your feeling on that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're about even here, so we'll see what happens in the future. I think I like the question that everybody has to ask. What did you actually think?
Mm-hmm.
But I also kind of like revealing it in the episode.
I've quite liked saving it for now.
You've liked saving it, okay?
Yeah, I have actually quite enjoyed this, and I think the couple that we have in the can, I don't think we revealed our thoughts on them.
I don't think we did.
I mean, it was more than yesterday ago, so I have no idea what we said.
Right. I don't think we did. I think we saved both of them. And I have been very careful not to mention movie titles when I tweet about things.
Okay.
So that people don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So, yeah. It's been fun.
So our next film coming up then is Interview with the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
The Vampire Chronicles. As we
I forget about that every time.
I think we did a spinner for it at the end of Jaws.
Yeah, we did.
We did, didn't we? Yeah, okay,
did,
fine.
yeah.
So we have already established that we've got Interview with the Vampire. You like Interview with the Vampire. I do not like Interview with the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So
that is what the spinner told us, and that's how we argued it.
So that'll be out in 2 weeks. We're obviously not going to do a poll on this one. Hey, who won the review show? But what I have quite enjoyed doing this. I would admit I like having a chance to take a breath and talk about the ones that have happened, to review the comments that we've had from people, what people have thought about what we've said. So yeah, I'm definitely in for doing this more. I would love to know what people have thought. If you are listening to this, if you are, oh yeah, let's hear a review from Matthew and Mandy of other episodes they've done. Did it meet your expectations when we did those arguments? What more do you have? Other questions you wish we would have picked up on, and other things you wish we would have covered in this summation? You can find us as ever: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Eloquent Gushing. You can use the hashtag Movie Fight Club to let us know any of those questions. Let us know your comments, and that's where we always put up the polls as well, so you can have a vote on these things.
Absolutely. Matthew, where can folks just find you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm at Matthew Vose, and you can listen to the Marvel TV podcast Marvelous. Mandy, where can people find you?
I am also on Twitter at Mandy K, and I'm just tweeting lots of random things recently. I'm trying to be more active on Twitter again. I've been in a funk, and now I realize I miss people, and so I have to interact with people for people to interact with me. So come talk to me on Twitter about anything.
Nice.
Nice.
You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/eloquentgushing, where you can support all this wonderful content that we put out and all the different shows that we do, and you can access to exclusive content, and we send you stuff when you come and support us, and it's a whole big, fun, loving community. You get to come and chat to us on Discord, where we do some polls and we interact about all the shows and what's coming up. That address again is patreon.com/eloquentgushing.
And as always, the first rule of Movie Fight Club is to tell all of your friends and family about Movie Fight Club.